Things Not Seen, Chapter 22 with Miss Hicks. Calls 59 and 60. After I'm home, and after I get Mom off my case for being gone for so long, and after I get my door locked and put some clothes on, I unfold the list and flatten it out. I stare at the names and I think about how I got them. And I'm not proud of myself for being a sneak thief, but it had to be done, because something had to be done. Can't just sit around and do nothing. And I think about Alicia. I feel like I should call to make sure she got home okay, but she'd probably just get hissy about how she can take care of herself. So I root around in my desk until I find a clipboard and put a list on it. Then I pull the cell phone loose from the charger wire, plop down on my bed, and go to work. My first 58 phone calls to the people on the blanket list break down like this. 13 phone service messages that say stuff like, "This number is no longer in service." 8 answering machines that I don't leave messages on. 6 husbands who don't know their wives had done any such thing as exchange an electric blanket and who couldn't care less. 5 wives who don't know that their husbands had exchanged an electric blanket and who also couldn't care less. 6 lonely old people who remember something about a bad electric blanket, but who really just want to talk to me about their grandchildren or Wheel of Fortune or the weather or the cost of heating oil or anything at all. 8 people who hang up because they think I'm trying to sell something. 6 kids who don't know when Mom or Dad will be home, or who say Mom and Dad can't or doesn't want to come to the phone and could I call back later. And 6 people, 2 men and 4 women, who are actually pleasant and cooperative but had no strange blanket events to tell me about. 58 phone calls and not one hint about anything unusual that might have happened because an electric blanket had stopped working properly. Mom has gotten over being mad at me going out today without telling her anything. Dad has come home from the lab for dinner, but he doesn't smile about anything. I can tell he's churning the data. And for 2.5 hours before dinner and 2.5 hours after dinner, I'm in my room going through the names from my crumpled, stolen list. And I'm lying on my bed, microwaves burning up in my brain, running up a killer phone bill. I'm going to talk about several different types of figurative language. Got several examples in that sentence right there. Microwaves burning up in my brain. A killer phone bill. See if you can think about what kinds of figurative languages those are right there. So it's about 9:15, and I make the 59th call. I know it's kind of late, but I skip ahead 2 names to a person who lives in Denver because it's an hour earlier there. Mr. Borden? Yes. Sorry to bother you at home, but I'm doing a survey about your experience with a Sears electric blanket. A blanket? Yes, from Sears. Do you recall exchanging the blanket? Yeah, we had a pink one. It's probably my wife did it, but it wasn't really our blanket. It was just left here. Left there? You mean at your home? The man doesn't answer at once. His voice is strained. My daughter Sheila, that was her blanket. May I please talk with her then? No, she's gone now. I hear the catch in his voice, in that certain way he uses the word gone. I don't know what to say. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Borden. I hope you don't mind me asking, but this is pretty important. Do you think your daughter's death had anything to do with the electric blanket? Death? He says. There's anger in his voice. She's not dead. That's the thing of it. She's just gone. Over 3 years now. I feel the hair on my arm stand up. Invisible goosebumps. Gone? You mean like how? Like run away from home? Something like that? The man blows his nose, clears his throat. Don't really know. She dropped out of college, moved back home, gets a job. Then she takes up with some of her old friends, starts staying out late. Came home drunk most nights. Sleeps next day till noon, gets up, goes to her job at the restaurant, and on like that for about 2 months. Then one night she comes in late, goes to bed, and the next morning, gone. and you haven't heard from her since. Only once. She called, asked could we send her $2,000, $2,000 more than the $4,000 she already stole when she left. Send it Western Union, she says, to this grocery store in Florida. So I did it, probably stupid, but if you have kids, you know why I had to do it. That's about 2 years ago. Since then, nothing, except a note last Christmas. And it's not like it was even a card or something nice for her mother. Just one of those computer messages. My heart almost stops. You mean an email? I guess so. It's just plain letters on a piece of typing paper. Sent it to Mrs. Harlan's house next door. Then her boy made a copy on his computer and brought it over to us. Mr. Borden, it's really important that I talk to your daughter. Do you still have that message your neighbor brought to you? You kidding? My wife keeps everything. Pictures, bits of hair, baby shoes, first tooth, report cards, everything. Tore her up when Sheila left. Could you find that paper for me? You mean right now? Please, if it's not too much trouble. It might be a big help. Hang on, I've got to walk upstairs. I'm on my feet now, pacing. I go over to my desk and open up a little notebook. My hands are so sweaty. It's hard to hold the ballpoint. He's taking a long time. There's a click on the line as Mr. Borden picks up another extension. You still there? Yes, sir. There's a click on the line as Mr. Borden picks up another extension. You still there? Yes, sir. Okay, here's what it says. Dear Mom and Dad, I just wanted to say Merry Christmas. I know I left so suddenly, but I think it was the best thing for all of us. Sorry if it hurt you. I think about you a lot, and I hope I can come home to see you again. Love, Sheila. I don't want to hear all this, but once he started, I can't interrupt. His voice is thick at the end. And when he stops, I say, Mr. Borden, at the top of the page, is there something that has the @ symbol in it? A little A inside a circle? It might even say from and then have a bunch of letters or numbers. I'm holding my breath. Yeah, up at the top, it says from, and then there's something like that. Can you please spell it out for me? Just exactly the way it's written. It's not written, it's all typed. That's what I mean, just the way it's typed. It says EILASH, then that @ doohickey. Then it says GLOWZ, and then a period, and then NET, net. And that's all of it. Mr. Borden, thanks so much for your help. I really appreciate it. Well, you're welcome, and I hope you can fix this blanket problem of yours. Thanks, me too. I push the button at the end of the call, and I see the phone wobbling. That's because my hands are shaking. Maybe this is nothing, just a coincidence. But if there's anything at all to find out, I will, because now I have Sheila Borden's email address. eilash@glows.net. Her dad probably never even noticed that eilash is just Sheila mixed around a little. That's probably the only email he ever got in his life. Dad and Mom are both in the study, sitting in the big armchairs on either side of the tall reading lamp. Dad is dozing, a clipboard with notes and diagrams lying in his lap. Mom looks up from her book and smiles when my clothes walk in. I sit down at the computer and she frowns. It's almost bedtime, Bobby. I just have to use the net a few minutes. She goes back to her book, and when the computer is ready, I open up a search engine. I find the people search features and jump around until I see what I need. It's a reverse hunt engine. You put in an email address, and unless the person you are looking for has been a freak about online privacy, that email address leads you right to the rest of their data. So I scroll to the right box, and I key in eilash@glows.net. I've got her. Sheila Borden lives in Miami, and I've got her street address and her phone number. When I shout, Dad sits up straight and his clipboard clatters to the floor. Mom stares over her book at me. What? Oh, sorry, nothing. Just found a cool website, that's all. because I don't want to jinx this. It's probably nothing. And besides, I don't want to get stuck trying to explain about my field trip to Sears for the rest of the night. Well, it's your bedtime. And you too, David. You've been sitting here snoring, so don't tell me you've got work to do. Up now, both of you. I grab the printout, say goodnight, and I'm back up to my room, 2 steps at a time. I shut my door and grab the phone off my bed. And then I stand still. Part of me says, go back down there and talk to the folks. Tell them what you're thinking here. Ask for some advice. But I don't want to. This is my deal this time, not theirs. Part of me says, call this Sheila right now and see what she has to say. But I don't want to do that either. And part of me says, call Alicia. That's the part of me I agree with. So I punch in her phone number. Hello? Oh, hi, Mrs. Van Dorn. This is Bobby. I'm really sorry to be calling so late. Could I talk to Alicia? Long pause. Bobby, did you go somewhere with Alicia this afternoon? My head kicks up into overdrive. In 2 seconds, I think. If she's asking me this, does this mean she already knows and this is a test to see if I'm a liar, or is she just suspicious, fishing for info? I say, I did see her at the library, if that's what you mean, because that's true. And now it's her turn to give me another clue about where this is coming from. I'm a pro at this game. I can hear the worry in her voice. She was out almost 4 hours this afternoon, and she won't talk to me about it. Do you know anything else? Aha, the mom doesn't know. She's fishing. This next part has to be just right, or I'm blacklisted by the mother and hated by the daughter. The first would be an inconvenience. The second would be a tragedy. So I say, if you don't mind, Mrs. Van Dorn, I don't think it's my place to get between one of my friends and her parents. Nice. No, better than nice. Brilliant. And it hits me. 3 weeks ago, I couldn't have even thought that, much less said it to somebody like Alicia's mom. Another pause, plus a mom sigh. Yes, I suppose you're right, Bobby. I'll call Alicia. And while I wait, I'm thinking maybe I should become a family counselor, or maybe a hostage negotiator. Bobby? Hi, Alicia. Just a minute. Then away from the phone, she yells, Mother, hang up! And I hear the other phone click off. She always tries to eavesdrop. So did my mom. Say anything to you? She asked me if I went somewhere with you today. And you said that I did see you at the library. And then she said you wouldn't tell her where you were for 4 hours. And did I have any information? And then I said I didn't think I should get between a friend and her parents. You said that? I did. And she said, yes, I suppose you're right. You may applaud now, or throw flowers if you wish. I'm impressed. I knew you would be. That's why I told you. Okay, smart guy. So what did you do when you got home? You mean after I dealt with my mother? Of course. I made a jillion phone calls, 58 duds, and then I hit the jackpot. Maybe. Or maybe it's just another dead end. The father of a girl who went to bed one night, and in the morning, she's all gone. Like, gone? Gone? Don't know. She hasn't been home in about 3 years, but she sent an email to her folks last Christmas, and I got her email address. And then I looked up her address and phone. You called her? I wanted to talk to you first. Oh. And then, how come? To see what you think I should say to her? How should I know? I mean, I can't just call up and say, I know you had this defective pink blanket and that you left home very suddenly, so tell me, Sheila, are you invisible? I can't say something like that, or she'll just hang up. And besides, it's pretty late. Alicia's quiet for about 10 seconds. Bobby? What? Another pause, and then it's her quiet voice. You're very smart. You know exactly how to talk to this woman. I know that. So why did you call me? For the second time during this phone call, I've got to get something just right, first try. Because this afternoon, because it felt like we rode out there to Sears together, and then we came home alone. And I didn't like it. Silence. And I'm thinking I've said too much, or maybe too little, or maybe just the completely wrong thing because I'm an idiot. But she says, that's my fault. But don't think it's because I didn't want to be with you or help you. or that I don't like you, because I do like you. It's because I talked with those people about being blind and working, like really working in a real job at a big company and everything. I mean, some lady at the lighthouse talked to me about all the jobs there are for blind people. But that was like a year ago, and I didn't believe it had anything to do with me. But today it was different, and it was so new to think about myself that way. And it was scary, and it made me feel alone. It made me feel alone. Oh, she opens up her heart to me, and what do I say? I say, oh, and I'm so mad at myself because I could have said, but you're not alone, Alicia. I'm here. I'll always be here. And then the lights would dim and the violins would start playing, and I'd take her face between my hands. Oh, geez, I'm in big trouble. Right away, I say, but it's good. What happened to you? Maybe you meeting those people was what today was really about. You know what I mean? Because this Sheila woman and all the other 200 and some people on my list, maybe all that is nothing like nothing. But what happened for you today, that was real, right? So that's good. Yeah, it was good. I think that's true. Then things feel awkward. And for a second, I'm afraid I might have said stuff I was thinking right out loud, or else maybe Alicia used her real eyes and she saw what I was feeling right through the telephone. Her real eyes. I say, so listen, I'll call this lady tomorrow and then let you know what happens, okay? Okay. And thanks, Alicia. For what? For today, I guess. For everything. Everything? Yeah. You're welcome. And thank you too, Bobby. For what? Same thing. Bye. Good night. As I get ready for bed and then turn off the lights and pull up the feather quilt, I'm not thinking about my electric blanket and how much I miss it. I'm not thinking about Sheila Borden or about her dad. Call number 59. I'm thinking about call number 60. My call to Alicia.